Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher and welcome to my world. And I'm just going to jump right into it. No build-up, no personal anecdotes either. Because this is just too important and I'm just too excited. Because it finally happened. The first episode of Miss Marvel came out. The Disney Plus show that brings Kamala Khan to the Marvel Cinematic Universe has arrived. As someone who's been following Kamala since her debut issue, I cannot overstate how much joy it gives me to say those words. Now, I had the date marked on my calendar for months. So of course I woke up at 4 in the morning just to watch the first episode. After taking some time to just process it all, I'm ready to give my initial reaction. That means no elaborate breakdowns this time, no larger scrutiny of themes, characters, plots, or ideas. For this video, I'm just going to let myself be an overeager fanboy and share my reaction. In short, it was marvelous. Yes, I know that's a corny choice of words, and no, I don't care. I seriously can't remember the last time I smiled so much for a new show. I also can't remember the last non-football related show where I cheered at the TV. I just couldn't help myself. Certain moments as well as certain references just had me so giddy. But for the sake of making a coherent video, I'll try to contain myself just long enough to talk about the substance of the episode. Because the longer version of my reaction does require a bit more detail. And if I still get overly giddy while talking about it, well, I still won't apologize. I regret nothing. Now, the first thing that struck me about this episode was its unique style. From the moment the Marvel Studios logo flashes on the screen, it's abundantly clear that this show is going to be different, both in terms of structure and in terms of presentation. And that's very necessary because, much like the comics, the story unfolds from Kamala Khan's perspective. That means it's full of all this colorful imagery that looks like the kind of fan art you'd see from a teenage girl. The way it flashes across the sky and the way it complements Kamala's experience, it really gives the impression that this is her story. We, the audience, are just along for the ride. And that ride will feel very familiar to Marvel fans of all kinds. Because much like her comic book counterpart, Kamala Khan is a die-hard fangirl. She loves superheroes. She loves the Avengers. She even has her own YouTube channel where she talks about them. Something I can definitely appreciate more than most. But, like most teenagers, especially those from different ethnic backgrounds, she feels out of place in Jersey City. The episode nicely establishes that Kamala just doesn't feel like she fits in anywhere. She walks through the halls of her school feeling like a total outcast. Whereas everyone else gets to be normal, she's just that weird Pakistani girl who loves superheroes. That distressing feeling, that sense like you just don't belong. I know that feeling well. Many other teenagers know it too. It's a core component of Kamala's character, and this episode establishes that perfectly. It does the same for Kamala's family. Yes, they're still the same loving, traditional family we see in the comics, but this show actually gives them a few moments that make them even more endearing. I won't spoil all the details. I'll just say the Dad Hawk moment was one of the best moments in the MCU to date. And that's fitting too. Her family is a big reason why Kamala Khan became such an endearing hero. And in the show, they play an even bigger role in how she becomes a hero. And this is where the change to her powers enters the picture. I know that's still a controversial aspect of the show, and I already made a video about why I thought it needed to happen. But, not gonna lie, that was one of the few concerns I had about this show when it was announced. But, after seeing this episode, I'm officially sold. We still don't know all the details just yet, but we do know that Kamala's powers come courtesy of a family relic. Specifically, a bracelet that once belonged to a relative. It hints that Kamala's family has a more eventful history than anything we saw in the comics. It also hints that the nature of these powers and how Kamala uses them will end up being a lot more personal. And I'm all for that. Kamala is often at her best when she's trying to do right by her family. But regardless of the source, the powers don't actually show up until the end of the episode. The bulk of the story is less about an aspiring superhero and more about a teenage girl trying to navigate less cosmic challenges in her life. In this case, her main concern was attending Avengers Con, which is basically what it sounds like, and something I would totally attend if it were real. Naturally, Kamala's parents aren't too keen on letting her go to this convention, complete with rowdy teenagers, girls in skimpy costumes, and other forms of forbidden fun. And the only way for her to be part of it was to defy her parents' wishes, which turns out to be her second most fateful choice of the episode, right up there after leaving her gloves in the bathroom. These choices, as well as what they lead to, get to the heart of what begins Kamala's hero's journey. Yes, it doesn't unfold exactly like the comics, but it still achieves the same goal. It helps Kamala Khan take her first step towards being Miss Marvel. And it's both satisfying and endearing. Don't worry though, fans of the comics will see plenty of references and parallels. In fact, some of the dialogue in this episode is ripped straight from her debut issue. In addition to just being great fan service, it also shows that those making the show have a keen understanding of who Kamala is, as well as an undeniable respect for the source material. And trust me, for Miss Marvel fans, that counts for a lot. The episode as a whole felt like a concerted effort to capture the spirit of those first few issues of Miss Marvel. And as someone who has practically memorized those issues, I can safely say it succeeded. Between that and all the colorful imagery weaved into so many memorable moments, I couldn't be happier with this first episode. Yes, there's still plenty more to come, and I imagine I'll have plenty more to react to in the coming weeks. But for now, let me just end this video with one simple message. Thank you, Iman Vellani. Thank you, Kevin Feige. Thank you, G. Willow Wilson and Sana Amanet. And thank you to everyone involved in bringing Miss Marvel to life.